gap on the front road. He decided to go on the back of this morning, so he's back on the line home after the yesterday. But everyone else pretty much out. There was 771 going off the tail of the field on the little wee RG 250WD water-cooled inline twin, or parallel twin I should say. The Kawasaki made the inline twin, but look at that rocket ship start for Chris Sales there on the XR500. I mean, he's one of your favourites here this weekend, Connor London, but do you think he's got it in the dry, got the advantage in the dry which he had in the wet?
I think it'll be a lot more difficult for him. I mean, his bike, he doesn't have anywhere near the speed of the bikes behind him, but yeah, he'd be definitely be able to keep it up there for the first few laps. If he can stay out in front during in the infield, I think he'll be able to stay ahead, but it'll be very difficult for him, obviously on the slower bike. But no, he's having great starts, getting the whole shot in this race and the first race this morning where he took the win.
We saw Rooney Cudby out here yesterday on 327. Unfortunately, his knee was playing up, so he packed up and went home. He didn't want to injure it anymore, but it was great to see Rooney Cudby back at the track. Had a couple of dramas in one of those races, run wide at the Go Media in the wet, and then he almost run into Dean Bentley and Higgins, but the masterful man, who's in his 70s now, pulled back on the brakes and just managed to sit it up and save an incident there, but his knee causing him trouble. But on the front straight there, sitting upright, no fairing to help him out here, is the number 321 Chris Sales, followed by 551 Tony Skinner's 145, the man from Blenheim, or Renwick, just out of Blenheim. I guess it's almost a suburb there, the place is getting better. Paul Brown, 626 from Picton. Jock Woodley on the TZ 350. I called him to see yesterday. I asked him about it. He says, is this the bike you bought new? He says, no, I've still got that. Well, that's still around, but this is a G. And I look at the timing screen, the G is a bit more apparent now than nearly. So this is owned by Lester Ferdinand, and he's got his name on the tank. And Jock Woodley, I don't know how many times he's retired. He's been racing since the 70s, the 80s and that, and then he'd come back and done the development class for a number of years. I think the 250 production class as well, and just such a humble man to talk to, and really loves helping out young people to get along there. Not the Bill Cosby way, I believe. Definitely not. Or Rolf Harris. But anyway, let's get back to what's on the track there. Conor London, it's your turn. I'll just go into the naughty chair for a while.
Yeah, it looks like Tony is catching up to him, up to the lead. Chris Sales is just not being able to hold the same pace, and then we see Paul Brown coming up behind Tony Skinner's there. So it's getting the front's closing up, the front three are really closing up, and then there's the two behind him, Jock Woodley and Tim Barnes, who are also on a bit of pace. So we might see towards the end of these laps the whole front five closing up, but it looks like the front three are already closing up together now as they go into turn one here.
For those of you who don't know, Conor London just been around the world New Zealand Superbike Championships for a couple of years running his ZX10, but also written for 2 years for the Bike Rider magazine, and I get a lot of people, well, not as many as I'd like, up into the commentary box to help out. Most of it's just about information, because the commentary's a different set of skills, but certainly I'm impressed with the way Conor London's popped his nose up in there to help and give me company and give a different voice on the thing, but also even just learning the pronunciation of some of the names like Tony Skinner's. He's probably picked it up from me, but that's all right, it's very hard to read through. And I went to the school kids one the other day, and there's all these funny Scrabble sounding names that these kids have got these days, but a little bit more normal names. But well, you're doing so well, and I hope you're enjoying it, Conor.
Yeah, it's a good new skill. It's a good thing to sort of practice, and it helps me out with with my racing as well. I can sort of apply skills I learn up here into talking to people, talking to media or whatever, but yeah, it's a good another thing to learn. Better than moping around the pits too. There's the change for second place, and wow, Paul Brown goes through there, just rockets past Tony Skinner's. Paul Brown on an FZR 600, but it's taken several laps for him to get past Tony Skinner's on the CBR 400 as they pack tight coming round onto the start-finish straight. The white flag is out. This is the final lap of a 4-lap race. They're closing in. The two bikes are closing in on Chris Sales there. I don't know. So there we go. Change for the lead there. 145. Paul Brown goes through third up to first. He just tucks in behind him there, and it is the lighter weight and maybe the deeper braking of Chris Sales there. He gets the power on out of that turn one there. Do you think he's going to last till the end? Do you think he's going to stay in the front there, Mr. London? I think he'll really struggle as soon as he gets onto the straights. That FZR is definitely going to pull up behind him pretty close. If he's able to hold him off going into the last corner on this lap, I think he should be all right. There's 3 laps to go now. It's 6 laps this race, I think.
Yeah. So the white flag out there. I thought I'm leaning out the front. Sorry.
Yeah, so he's got a bit of a challenge there, but you just see there Paul Brown makes a bit of a mistake, so he's able to stay in front down this straight. But as they go through Higgins now, we'll see how Paul Brown gets the power down, because if he can get the right run, he'll be able to pass it down the straight into the last corner.
That XR500 certainly got the punch out of the corners, but here comes 145, the FCR 600 4-cylinder Yamaha, passes some of these down there. I think Chris Sales will gain a little bit under the brakes, quite a little bit it seems, but Paul Brown is going to hold it onto the front straight. He's in there slipstreaming at the moment. It is probably lap 4 of a 6-lap race. Thanks for correcting me there, Connor. In the box seat to watch all this is 551 Tony Skinars from Wanganui there on the black Honda CBR 400. Then we've got Jock Woodley's under pressure now for fourth place. 626 is under pressure from the Ducati V-twin of Tim Barnes there, the 251 machine. So they're going into turn 1. The gap has definitely closed down in the last lap. We go into the next spot, and it's Russell Forrest, Rusty, on a Yamaha from... I don't think he was out earlier this morning, but one from the 199 bike from the Kapiti Coast. Kyron O'Neill, Kerry Chapman, Craig Green, Billy Worthington, that's the top 10. Mark Nartueri, Tim Kendall, Aaron DeArth, Craig Peoples, Chris Bassett, Dion Torquist, Darren Colville, David Redaway in 18th spot on 602. Then we've got Clive Martis, Steve Biddlecom, Roger Bourne, Mike Reed, and one other bike that is 258, which I don't seem to have on my screen. So that's the action there. So a couple of laps to go now. In fact, no, there's the white flag out there as we speak. Where's these lead bikes? The lead bikes should be going down that back straight. There it is. You can see that number 145 opening up the gap down there. Coming around the big sweeper there. They're going to come across some lappers possibly. In the 6-lap race was a bit more in the wet race, but they're coming through lappers quite a lot. But coming to the line now for the white flag. Number 145, 321, Chris Sales, and then 551, Tony Skinars. That battle's still hot between Jock Woodley and Tim Barnes. Here comes the pass. Tim Barnes pulls up the side. 350cc two-stroke versus 750 V-twin, and it is Tim Barnes into turn 1. But Jock Woodley tries to go around the outside, not quite enough, and tucks on in behind him on the inside. Can he drive it out of this corner? V-twin 4-stroke versus 2-cylinder 2-stroke. Over to you, Conor London.
Yeah, it just looks like Chris Sales, as good as they've caught lap riders, he's been able to catch up to Paul Brown, who's just got caught up a little bit by the lap riders. So he's got an opportunity to get in front as he goes underneath on the inside of the hairpin. He's really taking advantage of these lap riders. It's his only option is to be able to get in front because they're on the last lap now, and if he can make a dive into Higgins, he might be able to stay ahead.
He stuck his nose in there briefly, but the CBR Honda just seemed to have the drive out of the corner. They're into Higgins at the moment. The lead 2 bikes. The lead bike's got the white leathers. There they go, in underneath the lapper. And that's 321. Chris Sales following down the back straight. There's another lapper there. I think they'll probably get, one of them's definitely going to get past before the braking area. In fact, both of them got past, so they're going to clean run to the start-finish line, but it will be Paul Brown on 145 on the Yamaha FZR 600, but I tell you what, Chris Sales has not given up here. He's still cranking that little beast wide open, giving it the jandle, I think they call it. Number 321 goes through there. Tony Sklinars comes through, takes the 3rd spot there. There's that beautiful Laverna 602 machine getting lapped with David Redaway.
That was side by side for Jock Woodley, and I think it was Tim Barnes going across the line there. 0.05 seconds in it between them, and Jock Woodley just took 4th place.
That's it, the change of position for those two as well, is it? Yeah. That's, oh no, not a change of position. Jock did hold on to that, but 500ths of a second, 50 thousandths of a second. The checkered flag's out. They're on their wind down lap as we see 771 coming through there. Mike Reed on the RG250. Still another 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 bikes to come in there. Billy Worthington, is it? Yep, 208 on the RD350 LC. Mark Nartueri and Tim Kendall. Don't think Tim was out this morning, but the CBR 600 out there as well. So 2 or 3 bikes still coming around that sweeper. In fact, there's a couple there on the back straight, but we're going to go and have you can have a bit of peace and quiet or radio, folks.